Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this afternoon we're going to be having a look at the latest GFS, GEM, ECMWF, GFS ensembles. We'll have a look at the latest CET from the Met Office. We'll have a look at some precipitation charts from the GFS, and finally we'll have a look at the live radar as we've got more convective showers around today. Do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe, and do follow me on Twitter as well for additional content. So firstly, we'll have a look at the GFS, and you can see we've got this northeasterly flow, which is quite cold, and is bringing in sort of April showers from the northeast, quite a rash of showers around yesterday, throughout today, and probably tomorrow as well, as we maintain this flow. As we run through, you see the winds do turn more slack, which will mean where showers do form, they'll be more slow moving, but perhaps they won't be as widespread as they've been over the last few days. You can see there was a brief ridge of high pressure, so decent chance we see overnight frost again over the next few nights before it looks like the Atlantic is going to be breaking through, and this is the sort of bank holiday deluge that we've been looking at for the last few days, and it's looking pretty much now guaranteed to happen as it's coming in sort of 3-4 day time frame. And it does look like its track for this deep area of low pressure is going to be towards northern England. So perhaps the heaviest rain, it looks like at the moment, is going to be over Scotland, northern England, and parts of the Midlands as well. Southern England, I do suspect, will see rain, but it won't be as quite a deluge as further northwards. Beyond that, we have a northerly flow once again as this low pressure clears. It does clear quite slowly, but it does eventually clear, bringing the wind in from the north, which means it will be back to a showery, quite cold flow. And you can see again more low pressure diving in from the north, again bringing enhanced rain and showers. Beyond that, you see we've got this little low pressure, or big area of low pressure out in the Atlantic, and it doesn't sort of rattle in too quickly. It does take its time coming in, and before it comes in, we do pull up a brief southerly wind. Now, some people have been describing this as a Spanish plume, and you could argue that it is, but it only really lasts about 12 hours, and being coinciding with Sunday, the week on Sunday, we could be seeing some quite warm conditions on that afternoon, further eastwards. Now, there will be rain bands moving in, but ahead of that, we've got this quite warm air, and that could perhaps give 20 degrees plus in temperatures for many eastern and southeastern parts of the country. Beyond that, though, it does get pushed away by this low pressure, and the low pressure takes over. It hasn't got particularly cold upper air, so generally it'll still be quite mild in the day, perhaps 15 degrees, but generally a lot cooler than if we had that warmer air sticking around. We're now getting beyond day 10, so a bit more uncertain, and you see just low pressure is influenced with the jet stream pushed further southwards, so it does mean we stay on the cooler side of the jet. You can see though, although upper air is still not very cold, as the cold air really is running out over the North Pole, and you can see generally just a really quite brisk westerly flow with showers coming in and longer spells of rain whenever we do see these lows. As we head towards the longer term, you see a bit more amplification in the jet stream, high pressure trying to build in, but before that we do see another northerly wind. Again, nothing too cold with that, but again just shows you with this amplification in the jet stream, with the blocking we've been seeing, there's always a chance that even though things could turn a bit more westerly, perhaps milder over the next few weeks, there's always the chance that we do bring back in those northerly winds. Now, if we have a look at how it compares to the GM, you can see again very similar flow over the next few days. Then that low pressure rattles in, again very similar track, so it does look like most of the models have got it going through northern England, southern Scotland. Beyond that, again, northerly wind. And then as we head towards the following weekend, you can see we do pull up those very warm southerly winds. Perhaps a 15-degree isotherm, perhaps gets towards southeast England. That in the summer could give 30 plus degrees, but given it's first week of May, I suspect only maybe low to mid 20s perhaps. If we do see that, again, it has to coincide with the right time of day, and it will really depend on cloud amounts and how quickly the rain band does move in. But you could see a brief sort of one-day heat wave with this, so it'll be very interesting to see exactly how this plays out. And we won't know the details on cloud cover, the rain band positioning, until at least another few days, in a few days' time. Until it sort of clears up its exact track. Beyond that, again, very similar, and we can continue with this lower pressure over the top of the country. You can see, though, parts of northern Europe are going very, very warm indeed. Parts of Germany, even parts of eastern France, Italy going very warm with a 15-degree isotherm moving through. Could give 20 plus, 25 plus degrees quite widely, perhaps even 30 degrees in some localised spots. So very warm there. And again, the UK just missing out on that potential heat wave. If we now look at the eastern WF, see how that compares, you can see a very similar track of the low pressure moving through on Bank Holiday Monday. A little bit later, perhaps on the eastern WF, and then it runs through, get those northerly winds. And then as we head towards that weekend, we could be pulling up those southerly winds. You see, if you have a look at the 850 HP temperatures, you see there's nowhere near as much of a southerly flow on the eastern WF. So the eastern WF definitely is not going for that much of a warm-up. You see, we do bring up some warmer air to the southeast, and there's some much warmer over Europe, but it's nowhere near as warm as the GFS and the GM were going. Now, it's not guaranteed we're going to see this heat wave, or sort of one-day heat wave, this sort of Spanish plume, but a few ensemble members and some of the operational runs are now showing it in the 10-day time frame, so it is one of a few options, and I wouldn't count it out at this stage. If we now have a look at the ensembles, you can see how what the 30 GFS ensembles are looking at. You can see over the next sort of week or so, quite cool conditions with the low pressure, and then we got you can see the big precipitation pikes for Bank Holiday Monday, and then beyond that, again, we go cooler again with those northerly winds. Before we do see a rise up as those low pressures mill out in the Atlantic, we do pull up those southerly winds. Some ensemble members are going and remaining cool, perhaps bringing in more of a westerly wind, similar to what the ECMWF was showing, where even though it does go briefly milder, it doesn't go particularly warm at all. But then you see there's quite a few ensemble members that go well above average, maybe 5 or 10. So decent 20 or 30% chance perhaps, including the operational run. This is the midnight run, so unfortunately we don't have the 6 through yet, which was the operational run we were looking at previously. But you can see still a decent number of ensemble members going to around 8, 10, 12 degrees at 850 HPA, which was warm enough to give 20 plus degrees. So it'd be very interesting to see how the ensemble sort of resolve this situation, as I suspect we'll start to see quite a concrete pattern in the next sort of couple of days. You can see precipitation-wise quite unsettled during the first week of May. But as we head towards the 9th to 10th of May, signals are for it to quieten down a little bit. But again, I wouldn't look into that too much, as things can really change quite quickly with the precipitation. If we have a look at the 2-meter temperatures, let's go back to the midnight run. You can see generally around 14, 15 degree highs, and then those lows are coming through with a lot of rain and cloud around, perhaps even lower, even though the upper airs are not bitterly cold. Highs maybe only 9 or 10 degrees, lows around 4 or 5. Beyond that, as we head towards sort of 10th, 11th of May, when there's a chance we start to build up those sort of southerly winds, you can see that we do have some ensemble members going 20 plus degrees. Now again, GFS doesn't, and its ensembles are not particularly high resolution, so they don't resolve temperatures as well as shorter range models. So these are just a rough indication, but temperatures could be a few degrees warmer than that even then. Again, the heat doesn't have time to build if we do see the southerly southerly plume, but it still could give up some quite warm conditions. So it'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. If we now have a look at the mean central England temperature, you can see April has been around a degree below average. I do not suspect this is going to change drastically over the next, the last 2 days of April. It's provisional to the 29th. Last day, 30th of April today. There was an overnight frost last night, so perhaps this may drop maybe 0.1 of a degree, perhaps down to 6.8 degrees. But still quite a cold month. Colder than March, definitely, and very interesting to see low precipitation and cold temperatures as well. If we do have a look at the GFS precipitation, we can see generally what it is showing for the next for the Bank Holiday Monday with that low pressure, and then we'll also have a look at temperatures for that potential heat wave, or brief heat wave at least. You can see a lot of April showers around over the next few days, and then it's quieting down a little bit before Monday. Big deluge comes in, perhaps some heavy snow over Scotland, over the hills and the mountains, as we've got colder air there, and you can see generally the heaviest rain is over Scotland, northern England, perhaps parts of the Midlands and Wales, before some heavier rain does spread southwards, but it's not really nearly as heavy. Beyond that, again, continue those northerly winds and some snow over northern Scotland, and generally quite unsettled with rain bands moving southwards. If we now have a look at the 2-metre temperatures, if we head through, if we get towards the next weekend, when we do start to see those southerly winds, you can see on Friday temperatures are maybe 14-15 degrees. As we head through Saturday, you start to see warmer air starting to waft up from the south, and you can see Sunday potential for widely 22-23 degrees perhaps, especially in the east. Further west, still warm, but not quite as warm. And parts of Ireland, Northern Ireland and Scotland still quite cold, as the warm air never really reaches there. But you can see the near continent getting up to maybe 24-25 degrees. And again, a slight shift in this flow could bring those warmer temperatures to the UK. Perhaps a shift further eastwards, though, could continue with sort of mid to low teens. But then as we head into Monday, you can see that warmer air does get swept away very quickly, and the highs on Monday are only 14-15 degrees, so a good 6 or 7 degrees lower. So it'll be very interesting to see exactly how this plays out. Finally, if we have a look at the live radar from the Weather Channel, if we put it back to, here's a live radar, you can see a lot of April showers and heavy showers out today. There was a cap on the cloud heights yesterday, which is why most of the showers are actually quite light. But you can see today that cap is being overcome in some areas, especially further southwards. You can see some quite heavy sort of localised showers. You can see a lot of the showers further southwards and westwards, and in many central and sort of eastern areas, it's a lot drier, but there are still some showers coming in off the coast. You see some snow showers in Scotland, but you'd be lucky today to get away with not seeing any rain at all. But some areas will definitely do all right today and have quite a lot of sunshine and maybe only a sprinkling of rain. Other areas may be getting quite a deluge if you do sit under these showers for a period of time. But again, typical April showers sort of set up, with some areas seeing a lot of rain, some not seeing too much at all. Perhaps hail, maybe even some sleet and snow. You can see even that in northern Scotland and northern England. But it is good, Many areas do need the rain, so April showers is quite a good way of getting it, as you do see generally quite warm temperatures in the day, still with sunshine, so it can still get to maybe 15-16 degrees today. In sunshine, of course, and it doesn't feel too cold out there, but you can still get a decent amount of rain for the gardens and the plants and all that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.